All right. Thanks for coming over, Marcos. We're gonna get into it.
Thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm.
So is that my character?
That is you. That is you. That is why I'm so glad I'm having you on the show, because I named a character in the game after you. That's what I did. What have you been up to today?
Had work earlier. Just had to drive somebody to Burbank Airport.
Uh-huh. Bob Hope International?
Oh yeah. It's a nice one. It's kind of got like, I don't know, the interior reminds me of like Brady Bunch.
Oh yeah, I love that airport. I always loved landing there over LAX times a million, because it's just so much nicer. Who were you driving, if I may ask? Any hot celebs?
Just like higher up in the organization.
Higher up in the organization of the Hollywood Bowl, right?
LA Phil.
LA Phil. Well, I have gotten myself into a bit of a pickle today.
Oh. So?
Well, I don't know if it's a pickle yet. I don't really know what's going on. But basically, last night I got an email from this guy. He was asking me to be in a music video for a group called Boys Noise. Okay? And it's directed by a guy named Lil Internet. Is the name of the video director. And he basically introduces this to me with the information that Lil Internet has also directed a Beyonce video. So of course I immediately say yes, because I probably will never meet Beyonce in my life, but I do want to get just one step away from her. And I looked him up. He also directed a video for Nicki the Bee, the bounce king or one of the bounce kings of New Orleans. Rest in peace, Nicki. I think we watched that video on New Year's Eve.
Oh yeah, we did.
Oh, we did watch that on New Year's Eve. But so I'm going to be in this video shoot, but I'm playing a skinhead. They're gonna put fake tattoos on me. They want me to shave my head. And my boyfriend's going to be in it too, in the opposing gang, which is supposed to be like Latin Kings or something. I don't even really know what's going on. But I just don't even know what to think at this point about this whole situation, this whole shoot.
You've done music videos before.
I sure have, but not for Lil Internet, Like, what's his deal? What's he got going on?
So that's your main concern, not the subject matter, but
No, the subject matter is concerning. But I'm also, I think the subject matter is the primary concern. I also watched a video of Little Internet, and he appeared to be from like Maryland, I think, like super white preppy neighborhood. But he's in the game now, I guess. And his parents seemed like really artsy, I think that's only now that like people can like start out artsy and then like go to like hip hop zones. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I've seen that.
We've all seen it. We've all seen it.
We've all lived it.
Oh, here, read this little chunk.
After scene, you will be in control of Terra. There's a save point beside you. If you do so, choose to use it, then make sure you save on a separate slot because you won't have a chance to level up. And there's a problem if you can win the coming battle. The basic idea of this battle is similar to the battle you fought with the help of the Mughals, except this time you've just got your party to fight with. There's a couple ways of doing this. You can split your party and battle all the soldiers on the way down to the boss and blah blah blah. Or you can do it this way. Make a party of 4, including Tara, Sabin, Edgar, and Cyan. Put whoever in the other 2 groups. You won't even be using them. Mad dash down the shortest route possible, and you should be able to reach Kefka no problem, before any of the other soldiers even pose a danger to your group above. It's very important that you have Terra in your group because of her healing power. Lost my place. Hopefully you will get a few tinctures in your inventory as well. When you reach the bottom and get past the running soldier, you will face off against Kefka.
All right, let's wait to hear that. Let's wait to hear that Kefka boss summary. Now, Marcos, the character I named after you, he's a karate master. He's twin brothers with the character I named Bertle. And Bertle is the king of this sort of steampunk castle. But you sort of eschew leadership to go live in the woods and learn karate. Which seems like something you would do.
So is Bertle's character up there?
Yeah, there he is, right there.
Ooh.
You don't look anything like yourself. You look like a blondie.
Yeah.
But I felt like the sort of... And he's a very jovial, friendly guy, but he also doesn't really like to be the center of attention, I would say.
I can relate to that.
I thought you might be able to. James, who I had on the show earlier, really disagreed with the casting choice, but...
With my casting choice or his?
No, with yours. But because he's kind of like a muscle man, too.
Oh.
But I think the sensibility is... There's a similar sensibility of the two of you. So... Oh, here we go. See, deferring to John Bertle. I think this is not the first time I've named this character Marcos, even. Oh, what's going on here? Right, this big fight sequence that we're about to do. Ooh. So, what else has been going on, Marcos? Did you have a fun weekend?
Yeah, good time. Is that Saturday or Sunday?
I think it was Saturday night.
Yeah. We had a little karaoke Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Little party at our house.
Yeah.
We almost went to McDonald's, but you talked us out of it.
No, I did not. I was trying to talk you into it. I was so hungry, and I wanted to go to McDonald's. But I think also... Everyone was like too drunk to even drive across the street to McDonald's. Like I think that would have been it wouldn't have been a big mistake, but there was no one who could pull it off. You know?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Now, Marcos, you are known. Some circles have called you. You've acquired the nickname, and I've heard you use it, of Drunkos Marc. Where did that exactly start?
Drunkos Marc originated from Ben Lowry. Rest in peace. No.
Don't scare me like that. So many celebrities are dying. Dave Mira shot himself in the head today.
Really? That was a suicide?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What the hell is that about?
Ugh.
I just don't understand. I really don't understand what Dave Mira had to lose, you know? But I mean, I'm not in his shoes. I guess maybe he felt guilty about all those Monster Energy endorsements, but besides that, I mean, I thought he was cool. I mean, I don't know anything about it. I think I had his video game.
Yeah, that's the only thing I know.
Yeah, it was sort of like...
it was like Tony Hawk, but with bikes.
But with bikes, yeah. It wasn't quite as good, maybe. But what could be, you know? What could really be on that Tony Hawk level?
Not too much.
Not too much. And then Big Ange is sick right now with stage 4 terminal cancer. I just found out about that today. She's from the TV show Mob Wives. She's a real character.
Oh, that's the picture you posted.
Yes.
Okay.
And I just love her to death. I was watching Married to the Mob earlier in her honor. Great movie. Okay, let's do this party like they were saying. So it started with Ben Lowry, but the thing is, I also want to state for the record here on Let's Gay that I really do not think you're an alcoholic at all. I think you're completely in control of your drinking, but
Thank
you do like to drink. But this
was also during college.
Yes, when you were maybe even drinking a little bit more.
A little bit more.
And so
I got that nickname. I think he drew it. He drew it on his studio wall or somebody's studio wall one year.
Sure.
And then I kind of made some comics out of it, of this character Drunkos Marc, where like the punchline would always be like either like an alcohol pun or referencing
just something related to drinking.
Yeah.
And was that in hard copy, or were you mostly doing that online on the internet?
Mostly online.
Yeah.
There's one hard copy.
Okay.
One of my zines is a comic of it.
Mm-hmm. And have you found, like, as you have gotten just a little bit older, that it's getting harder to drink?
Oh,
or like
yeah,
the recovery is harder?
Yeah.
Because I'm already feeling that, and I mean, but I'm also I'm a one beer queer if I've ever met one. Like, I almost feel like I'm getting like to the point where I can like only smoke weed, because frankly, when I like to get dicks up my butt sometimes, and the drinking has an effect on what's like going on down there, you know.
Oh, really?
It's not good for my whole digestive system, I think. But I'm also hypersensitive to that. Like, I think most people don't think about their asshole as like much as I do, you know? Like, I really think about it a lot. Like, I think some people get hemorrhoids and they don't even notice. They just never even notice, you know what I mean? Because they don't even hurt a lot of the times. Kind of takes like a major, big one for it to even cause you pain, you know? But anyway, enough about that. So you do a lot of comics, and you've done a lot of comics online.
Mm-hmm. Or I used to.
You used to? You taking a break from that right now?
Taking a break.
Just taking a break from art in general?
Yeah.
You still doing stuff for Razor Cake? Yeah, you are.
I'm not planning on it this year. Not too much.
For everyone out there who may not know, do you want to explain to our studio audience what Razor Cake is and what that whole movement is all about?
I wouldn't call it a movement. Razor Cake is a bi-monthly punk fanzine that focuses on DIY punk culture. It's established in Los Angeles, close by, local.
Mm-hmm.
We just celebrated our 15-year anniversary. 80th issue, I think.
Sure.
Yeah. And I do illustrations and shirt designs and sticker stuff for them, or I have in the past.
Sure.
And yeah, check it out if you haven't. I'm sure you have, because if you're watching this, you probably know me.
And you would consider yourself a punk, definitely.
No.
No,
yeah, I would.
You would, yeah, you would.
It's not like the punk thing to say, though.
To say you are a punk is unpunk.
It's kind of not punk.
Why is it not punk?
It's like giving yourself a nickname.
Saying you're punk?
Yeah, like you can't give yourself a nickname. Somebody has to like give you the nickname. Somebody has to like crown you with that name.
Like, it's okay if I call you a punk, but it's weird for you to self-identify that way.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of similar for, like, me being, like, a nerd, you know? Or geek, or those terms. I think a lot of terms like that, or, like, hippie, or even hipster, they're kind of terms that the people who are those things don't really like to use, but the sort of more you know about the cultures that those terms would fit about, the more you become one of those things. Do you know what I mean? It's like this sort of inevitability. But when would you say you sort of first started getting into that type of music?
Oh, God. Sometime in middle school, when I was just, like, getting off new metal.
Yeah.
New metal, if you don't remember, was a hell of a thing in the mid to
Sure
late
was.
90s.
It sure was. Who were some of your favorite new metal bands, let's be honest?
Well, Korn, of course.
Well, of course, they were great.
A bunch of embarrassing stuff. I don't.
You don't even want to repeat. Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
it's okay. We were in middle school.
Me and Ben were actually like trying to think of like the 3 defining new metal albums of like the late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I think Korn's "Follow the Leader" was one of them.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Probably Limp Bizkit's "Significant Other." And I think we said like something else for the third, but going back, it was probably System of a Down's "Toxicity."
Well, some people actually still really respect System of a Down's music.
I still respect that.
And
I don't listen to it, but
the guy from System of a Down is really into classical music, I think. And I read a study about metal and classical music, like metal being the most closely related to classical music of any contemporary genre, which I thought was very interesting. I never thought of metal in that way. So you moved on from System of a Down to who?
Just kind of
still bad punk
still
bands.
Bad mainstream punk bands. And I'm also from San Diego, so
and there's a punk scene down there.
Yeah, but like I was just gonna say, like Blink-182
is
from there, and
oh, they're from there? I didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I never even thought about where Blink-182 was from. I never pieced it together, but Adam's song, that's fucking real. And then the one where they are running around naked, I mean, that did something to me, I think, as a child.
Did it actually?
I think it did a little bit. I think I was, I didn't really know what to make of it, but when you're little and gay, it's sort of this non-verbal thing. You don't really know what that feeling is, so you just internalize it. But there's sort of something a little bit exciting. And I remember it was on TRL right around the same time that Summer Girls by LFO was on there. I don't know if you remember that song, but You Look Like a Girl from Abercrombie and Fitch. Chinese Food Makes Me Sick. And both of those videos tantalized my little New Jersey heart. Summer Girls is really, really bad. Really trashy looking guys, but I loved it. I was totally in love with Rich from LFO. So, when would you say you would consider your music taste to have become actually good?
That's a good question. Probably third year of college. Pretty late.
Yeah, I would say that my music taste still is not good. I also think, would you consider punk, like, I was watching an interview with Erykah Badu where she was talking about the difference between hip-hop and rap, and how hip-hop was a lifestyle that incorporated fashion, dancing, graffiti, all these different aspects of a lifestyle, and punk is kind of similar in that way, maybe?
Yeah, it depends who you ask. I was listening to the Misfits today, and I haven't listened to that in a couple years, and I was thinking when I first got those CDs and how different I thought punk was back then to what I think it is now. I think of it more as like social justice and breaking down pre-established systems, but back then it was kind of I thought of it as just destruction and fuck authority.
Yeah. The way punk music is made, as I understand it, it's very easy to make, right? It's ease of access.
Yeah, that's kind of what it prides itself on, that anybody can do it. Very Marxist, very accessible for everyone.
And its origins are sort of as a bastardization of rock and roll.
Yeah.
So now that your taste in music is good...
Almost good. Some of it's not that good.
That's okay. What are some of your favorite bands? Let's start with good and then go to not good.
Okay. Favorite bands. I'd say the Ramones is my favorite band.
Uh-huh.
Television.
Okay. And that's a punk band, Television, you would say?
Maybe I'd consider them a punk band. Replacements. Those would be like my favorite bands of all time.
There you go.
Oh, Wire, definitely Wire's in there.
Is the Replacements do they have eyeball heads?
No, those are the Residents.
There you go. Yeah. It's funny, because I think Daryl would say, our fellow friend and housemate and guy who works at Razor Cake, he feels really strongly about the Ramones too.
What was the second part of the question?
What are the ones you like that are bad? That you know are like not as good of bands, but you still really love them?
Oh, God. I don't know if I could admit to it, but...
Let's get into it.
Just like ones I still listen to, or ones that I'll always have like respect for?
Oh, I would say more the second one, because I feel as if I don't listen to enough music regularly to even, like, who do you still listen to that you would be slightly embarrassed to admit you still listen to it?
I mean, I did listen to Blink-182 last week.
Ooh, busted.
It's on YouTube, full albums.
It is. A lot of albums are fully on YouTube, though, wouldn't you say, at this point?
Yeah.
Like, even obscure.
But not enough.
Not enough. And Spotify too, not enough. Who's not on Spotify that you wish was on Spotify of any type of music?
I actually don't listen to Spotify.
You don't listen to Spotify at all?
No, it doesn't really work with my computer for some reason.
Oh, really? That's weird. Yeah, Aaliyah's not on Spotify, or wasn't, and neither was Smog. Those were the two people that I would often search for and not get a response to. Can you read me this next little bit right there? Narshe.
You'll have the chance to form the party you wish to use at this point. Leave the house and follow the path down to another small house with a ton of treasure chests inside. There you'll find 5,000 GP, earrings, thief knife, wall ring, sneak ring, and hyper wrist.
That sounds good.
Don't worry about the locked chest at the moment. Even Locke can't get into that one. There's some nice shopping to be done here, and you should also be sure to check the Elder's house at the upper left. You'll find an elixir in the clock. With that, it's time to leave Narshe and head southwest to find Figaro Castle.
All right.
So you don't consider this cheating?
No, not at all. I mean, I feel like a lot of these games, this is not exactly an example of this, but there are a lot of games that I really don't think you can even really complete without doing at least a little bit of strategy guiding. Final Fantasy X-2 would be the primary example of that, and I think that's bad. That's not good. I think this game you could totally beat without a strategy guide, no problem, but we are playing this for the internet to watch and learn how to play this game, so it is, I think, perfectly fine to use the strategy guide. So, you do music, too.
Sometimes.
How many bands? Another thing about punk is everyone's in a million bands. What are some of the bands you've been in? Or all of them? I want to hear all of them, actually.
Okay, all of them. The first one I played bass with Ben, a band called the Fighting 77s. Then it was Fresher Flesh. I played drums for them. Good friends, John Barlog.
And that title is Jackson. From a serial killer manifesto or something, right?
Some sort of literature that talked about serial killers.
Someone was in search of fresher flesh.
Yeah.
A cannibal or something like this.
Yeah.
So Fresher Flesh.
Then Hot Nun was going for a while.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
It was Bird Strike before Renee got into it.
I see, okay.
And John was the singer. Then there was Bird Strike. This Microwave was in there, which was like the mix of Devo and Discharge.
The sound was.
That's kind of how we went into it, but it just sounded like I don't know, punk jazz.
Cute.
Impromptu.
There was like weird performative stuff in that, maybe with like robots. People dressed up like robots, stomping around.
Yeah, Adrian had a robot costume.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. Bands going on now are Dissidia, which is me, me, Renee, Daryl, and Josh on drums.
And what did that name come from?
It means indecisive in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
Or like an indecisive person.
There's actually a series of Final Fantasy games called Final Fantasy Dissidia, so it's funny that that's your band name.
Dissidia.
But I haven't ever played them, but to me they're kind of shit games not because they're fighting games, but because the entire playable character roster is only the main characters from each Final Fantasy is the best way I could describe it. And
what's like an all-stars?
Yeah, but the thing is, the main characters of each Final Fantasy game like are not even always the most interesting characters in each of those games, and they're also sort of generic to me in this way. Like they're all like pretty looking guys or boys. There's like this game is one of two Final Fantasy games where the main character is a gal. And that's part of what I really like about it. And it was certainly the first to do that. The two main characters, really, I would say, are both female. So, Dissidia, that's the one you're in now. And a couple of those made it to album mode. Birdstrike did record a whole record?
We recorded a demo.
Oh, okay.
Made a CD out of it.
Sure. And Fresher Flesh, we made a lot of patches, I remember.
Yeah, I guess we did burn CDs for Fresher Flesh.
That's pretty good.
That's also on like the Library of Congress website, I believe.
Fresher Flesh?
Yeah.
How'd it get over there?
Jackson just like uploaded it.
Oh, that's cool. You can just add stuff to the Library of Congress if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little known fact. That I think is because when you're reading Wikipedia, sometimes it'll say this film was selected by the Library of Congress to be added to the collection. So who knew you could kind of do it yourself?
Yep.
And of course, though, you primarily over the years have done art, right?
Yeah.
Visual art.
I'm a visual artist first and foremost, or I was before the break.
The break? What brought about the break?
I don't know. Maybe too much Instagram. I wasn't. That's a weird way to state it, but I'm just not feeling it.
Too much Instagram for you?
Yeah. No, not for me. Just like looking at Instagram and like seeing what's popular and.
Then what?
Seeing what oh man, I saw I'm following this one guy who's like doing exactly what I was like attempting to go for, which is like.
I'm sure that's not true.
It's pretty similar.
Okay, well, what are you attempting to go for here?
I don't know. It was kind of like I can't even explain it, but it's kind of like referencing cartoons, but in a way where it's not. I don't know. It's like cartoons, but without like. That's what like the art is about. It's kind of like the techniques of like you know how there's like certain textures and in like old-fashioned cartoons or certain like cliches, like kind of like the white gloves like old cartoon characters would wear.
That's a recurring trope in your work, definitely.
Yeah. So I don't know, just things like that are maybe not so obvious. I wanted to kind of like attempt more. Just like kind of that style.
Okay.
Like kind of infiltrating other things, but it's...
And you felt like this other guy was too similar for you to continue to produce.
Kinda.
So,
he like kind of succeeded in like the ways that I wanted to, and I didn't feel like this.
Oh my god, Marcos, this is just ridiculous.
No, this isn't like this the reason why I'm like taking a break. It's just kind of like,
I just don't even know what to say about that kind of relationship to the work. And also, you shoot yourself in the foot. Like, for example, you were making GIFs and amazing art for the web for years, but you were posting it all to what? Blogspot or something like this?
It was a personal WordPress.
A WordPress, that's the one I'm talking about. When you should have been posting it to Tumblr. Or at least if you wanted anyone to see it. You don't want anyone to see it.
No, I just wanted it to be its own island where you'd have to make the effort to go to a website that wasn't like linked to anything else.
And why do that?
I don't know. It shows a little effort on like the audience's part.
Okay.
I mean, like, you ever forget, or do you ever like delete, or somehow like have your whole history delete, like internet history deleted, and you're kind of like you're a little bit panicked because like there's like certain websites you'll never go back to because like you have like no reference to them.
Okay. What does that? I know what you're talking about, but what does that have to do with you?
There's just like there's something to that. There's like
the memory, the arcane sort of dream space.
Like the viewer just like making an effort to like find something rather than it being presented to you through Tumblr or a website that you're already on and it just being gushed into your like news feed.
Yeah.
Or however Tumblr works.
Yes. And do you think maybe what's the influence on this realm of thinking for you? Like, would it be sort of a proud to say punk philosophy a little bit?
Sure. But I don't know. You ever like I don't know, there's just like when I first like got the internet for like those first like few years, we had it in like the computer room of my parents' house, and like when you first get it, like you don't even like really know what you're like looking for. You just kind of like search for your interests, and then through that like I found like rotten.com and well, not through my interest, but just like like the Rotten library is like a really interesting thing. Like it's kind of like an encyclopedia if you haven't been on it. Just talking about like the absurd and like the occult and like, personal biographies and just like kind of like an unfiltered. I'm trailing off. What was the question?
I mean, I just want to know what all of this has to do with why you seem so hesitant to allow your work to be seen.
Oh my god, you sound like my godparent. I'm just like kind of biased on like Tumblr, or not biased, but
I think you probably are biased.
No, it's just I don't know. Tumblr's fine now, but I was like really against it for the longest part.
Yes,
because like artists weren't getting credited, and
well, if you follow back to the original post, sometimes
but
you
originally people would just like post comics that they had like nothing to do with.
Oh yeah, I think that still goes on. Absolutely. Yeah. I think people. I mean, I do it. I don't do comics, but I do that all the time because I do comics versus toys, and I don't know where half the stuff comes from. It's probably really bad, but it's also like, you know, I have 600 followers. It's not really gonna affect anything.
I mean, some of those are mostly just like anonymous memes or memes that like people just make rather than like you know, an original drawing. Or you do have like original drawings sometimes.
Oh yeah. But I made you a Tumblr, okay?
Yeah.
And I posted all your old things from WordPress on there. I cannot find this armor store for the life of me. Is there even an armor store in the town? No, this is old. How are we here? Weapon shop, armor shop. Where the hell is the armor shop? That's what I want to know. And
just gonna go behind.
Oh, feel free to go behind.
Thanks.
I made you a Tumblr, and I posted all your old. I did it all for you. I posted all your old WordPress stuff on there because I thought it was so great, and I love your work. And a lot of it, some of it got reblogged and reposted like a lot of times. Like, you were having more success on Tumblr than I was, really. And you shut it down. You made me stop doing it. You didn't even have to lift a finger. Why? Why do you do that?
I guess maybe it was like the things that were getting reposted were kind of just like the things I rolled my eyes on. Like, oh, of course.
But you made them.
Yeah.
You made them, and you had already put them out into the world to be consumed, just not, like, maybe. Only maybe. Still maybe on Tumblr, but even less of a likelihood of being seen on WordPress. So you didn't like which of your work got picked up by the audience, is what it is.
I mean, it's fine. It's just it was just like the simpler things that got picked up.
The simpler things, like for
things
example,
that kind of require no thought.
A bumper sticker that said Nirvana on it.
It wasn't a bumper sticker. It was somebody's
license plate
on a turquoise Hummer that said Nirvana, and the V was a heart.
Did you make that, or did you find that?
No, I found that. And I've actually found that car again, too.
You took a picture of it.
I took a picture of it.
So you didn't just find it on the internet. You found it in real life.
I found it in real life.
Wow. So, and you didn't like that was being reposted a lot. Why?
I'm not gonna... I don't know, it just, like, lost all, like, the context of, like, what, like, the website was about. It just, like, turned...
Of your individual Tumblr, seeing it on other people's Tumblrs, the context was affected.
Yeah.
And on WordPress, you can't reblog, right? Can you?
At least with, like, this one I had, you couldn't.
Yeah.
You could... I think they added a like feature now.
Okay.
But that's as far as I know. I don't do that one anymore either, so...
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to tell you something.
Have you found the armor shop yet?
I found the armor shop, thank God. That was just awful. But I have talked about this event in therapy. Because, and my therapist has brought it up many times since, because I said, I feel like, well, first of all, I said, I feel like some of my friends are striving for obscurity, and I just don't, I want to be famous. Like, I did punk music, sort of, for a little bit. I was in a punk band, and I'm so glad that we didn't have any real success, because if we had, I would have sold out immediately. That would have been the first thing I would have done. And everyone would have hated me for it. Everyone would have hated me for it so much, so and that's why I feel like I couldn't really go there with that. And also, maybe we never could have, because we were just a band that was like screaming about animal rights. But and my therapist brings that up often. He often brings up those people who strive for obscurity. And I just think that's... So I'm sort of showing my hand here, because I'm just a total... I mean, I'm doing videos with little internet just so I can be one step away from Beyonce tomorrow.
But, like, what? Is Tumblr famous even, like, a real thing?
I don't know. My friend Nikki Takesh, she, just based off her Tumblr was the entire inspiration for a collection of clothes by Jeremy Scott, which were then, like... She became famous. She became an it girl, a model, or whatever from that, essentially, is what happened. Okay, here, read this. What are we on next? Figaro, read that to me. Throw it at me.
Start by heading up and revisit the 2 shops from the beginning of the game. You can purchase 2 brand new tools for Edgar. Here's an interesting trick. Go into your menu and place Edgar at the head of your party so he appears as your avatar character on screen. When you talk to the merchants now, you will get a half-price discount on everything in the store. When you're ready to continue, head to the entrance of the castle and descend the stairs on the left. Speak to your man there and tell him you wish to go to Kohlingen.
Sure.
Leave a castle and make your way north, just above Figaro Castle. Not Figaro. Along the side of the water, you will find Kohlingen.
Okay.
Kolingus.
Kohlingen. I think a lot of the names in this game are sort of German in influence. I really don't know. So, okay, so you do want to show your work on WordPress, but you don't want it reblogged. What, in your fantasy dreams, is your dream for you as an artist? Where do you want to be, if you could? If you could just do it, wake up tomorrow and you were in your dream artist life, what would it look like?
Just making enough to eat and pay bills.
Yeah.
Doing just whatever.
Making a living off your art.
Yeah.
It has you have
regardless of what that art is, because like sometimes you get bored and you want to do music or painting or
the freedom to do all that stuff is important to you.
Just so I don't like get pigeonholed or feel confined to like one thing.
Sure. Which happens a lot when people get successful, though not always. I feel like I often conflate fame and attention with money. Like, I think that the only way I could have money is if I had the fame, which is not true. There are people who have much fame as artists and have very little money, and there are other people who don't have any but just get, maybe depending on what venue or how you make your work, get like pimped out by a gallery or something to rich people, and then they have money from that, or some other way to have money without fame. I don't know what it is, but it's interesting that I feel like for me that's like a real reoccurring thing. Or maybe I just deep down don't care about myself and money and really only care about like success and distribution, and of course making interesting good work. But beside from that, you know, which is not every artist's ambition, I bet, to make good stuff, but I think some artists' ambition is purely the
I mean, going out of like graduating from school, I kind of expected just to like have a 9-to-5 job, and with my spare time making art, and not really making money from the art, but just like having that as like my hobby or like my downtime. But that didn't even like happen, since it's, I don't know, I just couldn't find it. I can't find work. Couldn't find work. Still can't really. I have like a shitty part-time job that I barely made 5 figures this past year. 5 figures.
What is that? Over $10,000?
Just $10,000 this year.
And you are also an amazingly frugal person. You can save money.
You
like
say that.
Literally no one I've ever met. No one I've ever met.
That's the Jew in me.
Okay, let's get into that. So you're half Jewish, right?
Raised Jewish. Well, yeah, raised Jewish. Mixed Mexican and white.
Sure. On your dad's side or your mom's side?
Dad's side Jewish. Mom's side white and Mexican.
Okay.
And my dad's like also Russian.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's white.
White. And so what do you, but not too. What are your parents do for a living?
My dad's retired now. He used to be a public defender. My mom does many jobs at a museum in San Diego.
And did you do the whole bar mitzvah thing and everything?
Mm-hmm.
How was that for you? Because you are kind of a shy guy. Did you have fun?
I maybe during those years I wasn't as shy. I mean, yeah, it was still like awkward and weird, and I had to read the Torah and give a little report in front of all these people that I barely knew. I mean, it wasn't great. It wasn't fun.
It wasn't fun. You didn't have fun at your bar mitzvah.
Oh, I had fun at the party.
What was at the party? Did you do anything outrageous? Did you have any like disco balls or anything like that?
Just me and like the other kids. Like, we just like tried to find as much remnants of alcohol as we could, and like putting it in one drink, the Twister as it was called.
That's what you... Wait, alright, let's back up. Remnants of alcohol, where are they coming from?
Like the adults' cups that they didn't finish.
Right, okay. So you're sneaking around, taking those off the tables, and then you just pour it all together in one.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that taste like?
Not pleasant, but I feel, going back to how I can't drink like I used to, it wasn't like I didn't puke immediately.
And you're in like 8th grade.
Yeah, probably.
So you are drinking, and is there loud music going? There's like a DJ or something?
Of course, we got a DJ.
Yeah. But nothing really extravagant, like there wasn't like pony rides or anything like that.
No.
So going back to, so you're incredibly frugal, you're barely making time. Do you really think that it's because you can't find a job? Or do you think it's because there's something, because I think for me, there's something deep down inside me that just won't let me do it, get like a real job. Because I'm just genetically hardwired to want to have time for creative stuff.
I don't know. I think that's what it used to be. Like, whenever I'd apply for work and like tell them my hours, I always made sure to like leave half of my week for like art time.
Mm-hmm.
But right now I don't know. I'm in a block where I can't even make work anyway. So why don't I just like dedicate just my whole week to like making money or just working, because I'm not used to it anyway. Like, I can't remember like last time I was like busy with things I didn't want to do. That would have been like high school, where you just like spend all that time
Doing homework,
going to a place early in the morning, and barely having like free time for yourself except for the weekend. And I'm like not used to that now.
Certainly not.
When I feel like I've done it before, maybe I can do it again.
So you are in a block right now? You're having like a creative block right now.
Yeah.
And has that ever happened before?
Yeah, it's happened before.
Like how long periods of time would you say you go through sort of like a don't know what to make work about type of phase, would you say?
I'd say they could last like 1 or 2 years.
Years?
Yeah. I mean, like sometimes you still make work, but it's just you're just like faking it. You're just like making work because you have to, or you feel that you have to.
Right.
And you're not really like, it could go either way. You don't care if people dislike it or not.
Yeah. What was some work? What was the last time? Like, what was some work that you've made that you really like felt good about and you wanted people to
The WordPress.
like it? The WordPress. Yeah.
I've made zines that I thought were like almost perfect in my head. I felt they were just like funny and well-rounded and had like the right amount of balance of like accessible yet like it leaves you wanting more. It's not like all written out there in front of you.
Okay.
Of course it like, it's never that well received in real life, but
yeah, people never pay that much attention. Like, it really takes a lot for people to really hone in and try to figure out what's going on with your work, especially out of school, I think, and that critique environment. Mostly all you're going to get is people being like, I liked it, it was cool, or not saying anything to you. That's all you kind of get, you know? And it's frustrating, but it's also really hard to form. Have you tried to do critiques at all outside of school, critique groups? Have you ever tried to do something like that?
No.
Yeah, see, I barely tried, and the thing I even realized while it was happening was that the people there were just all my friends. So they were going to like it or pretend to like it almost no matter what. Whereas in school, you're around all these people who kind of don't really give a fuck about you. So you get this sort of range of opinions that's really valuable. I think that is one of the good things about art school. I hate to admit it. Did you have a good time at Cal Arts? Did you like it?
Mm-hmm. It took a few years before I got the hang of it, but yeah, it was great. I mean, it's expensive as fuck. And
yeah.
I probably wouldn't recommend it to too many people.
You wouldn't recommend it?
Just certain people I would. Certain types of people.
Yeah, I find myself feeling sort of guilty about having enjoyed art school because it is so expensive and so many people don't have that opportunity. And then also, honestly, what Cal Arts, does... Because I feel like that school, I was just on vacation for 4 years, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It was the easiest thing, the act of doing the school part of it, all the emotional drama and the other stuff is, just comes with the territory, but going to class was just a cakewalk, honestly. And then you get out and it's like you went to the most prestigious art school in the country. The way, that's how people treat you. People are intimidated to hear that you went there. And I think part of the reason why it is successful in that way is because it's all up to you what you do there. You have to learn how to do it for yourself. At the same time, I sort of feel like Cal Arts, I wish there was a little bit more of a social component to the art making, but I kind of made it happen a little bit with the open drawing that I would do. But anyway, so yeah, I liked it. I definitely liked it. But, so you felt really good about those zines. What was something that you made that you felt like you were just doing it to make it? Give me an example of that. Just another zine? Different zines?
Maybe just illustrative work. You're just kind of told what to do.
And you don't like that, or?
No.
So
But
this guy
I don't know. I'm trying to think of I'm blanking right now. You want me to read something?
Read me this one.
From Kohlingen? Kohlingen, man? If you enter the inn in a pub, you'll find Shadow again, but he'll have little interest on accompanying you on another adventure. The first thing to do is head to the upper right corner of town. Don't go inside the house, but rather behind it. There's a secret entrance at the back of the house leading inside to where you will find a green beret.
Cute.
Enter the house at the upper left side and watch the flashback scene, then examine the clock to get an elixir. With that, it's time to leave town and make your way south to Jidor.
Okay, we're in the back here. Got the green beret. Where do we go to get the cutscene?
Enter the house.
At the upper left side, so on a different part of the map.
And there's a flashback scene.
All right, let's see this. But you've.
Wait, do you have new? Do I have new? Or is that a different character? Or is that me?
That's not you. That's Bertle.
Okay.
Here, let's switch it around. I'd like to have a lady at the front of the party. So, but you've been doing artwork for Razor Cake for how long now?
2009, 2010.
And you're telling me you don't like it?
No. I'm just saying. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying being hired to do things. Being hired to illustrate things when the other person has a specific thing in mind and they want it a certain way and it won't look good, but that's just what they want.
Right. Okay. But do they pay you at Razor Cake?
No, it's all volunteer based.
Right. So
sometimes Todd will buy me a case of beer.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
I think it's interesting because all that time I was putting pressure on you to put your work on Tumblr and get all the success, I was never really taking into account the fact that you were putting drawings and doing illustration for Razor Cake, which has thousands of subscribers all over the country, possibly the world.
In the world.
So really, that's been your biggest outlet, and of course, that's totally different because... Have you ever gotten feedback on something you've drawn in Razor Cake?
Yeah. the bass player to Against Me got one of my drawings tattooed on him.
Wow.
So that's... Or no, the bass player's brother to Against Me got his...
Is that...
That's the biggest thing that's ever...
Is that Largely and Grace Against Me?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's so crazy when that happens.
But it was like... It's also kind of this...
What was the image?
The image was a monkey with one of those old-fashioned record players, like the ones with the cone on its back, fighting a robot that had MP3 on his mouth. Like, just like, whoa, vinyl's attacking MP3s.
Right.
Just like a dumb image conveying that.
Okay. For like an article that was like about that, the relationship between...
It's the main image that's in every... It's in every issue.
Oh.
But it's for music reviews.
I see. And you don't write reviews for Razorcake, do you?
No.
Okay, we got the Elixir and the Green Beret. You know what? I think we need to get into some...
Boss battles?
Well, I would like to get into some boss battles, but before that, I think I haven't really done a great job of making sure everyone has the equipment they need or deserve. Alright, that's good. Thief's Knife, that's good. So, what about love relationships? Are you feeling good about that? Are you...
I'm fine. I'm fine with where I'm at.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm pretty into it. I'm paranoid. Sometimes I wonder what would happen. Like, I'm just in a crazy situation right now because I'm like madly in love, sort of, but really for the first time in a long time in that way that's really, consuming and not just like chill, And that's good, that's good for like looking to the future. Also, I feel like my boyfriend looks like a porn star, and once you go that route, like, I don't know if you can really come back from it. If I could just have sex with like some normal looking dude after the porn sex, like, and he's just all of that side of it is just absolutely insane. Like, I remember when I was a little kid, and I've told him this. When I was a little kid, there was a computer program on my friend's computer that, I guess essentially what it did, it was like a naked lady, and you could like tie her up and like maybe like fuck her with a dildo, and it was like a
Is it a Japanese one?
No, it was really like crudely animated, but really well animated too in a way. Like, they were really pushing the limits of like what a Mac in 1997 could do. I'm trying to think of a computer game that would look comparatively to this. Anyway, you could do all these sexual things to her, and she loved it. She was super into it. And I just remember thinking to myself, why? This is so implausible. Why would this sexy lady be turned on by a bunch of third grade boys? Like, this doesn't make any sense. And that's sort of like what my boyfriend is to me. Like, in that moment, I'm like, why is this super hot guy turned on who's like really down for whatever, just really turned on by me? I also sometimes feel like a comedian in my like vanity project movie. Like, I feel like Kevin James in The Zookeeper, where like Rosario Dawson is just head over heels in love with him. Just some super hot girl is just dying to fuck Kevin James. Like, why? That doesn't make any sense. Like, that, there's also a bit of that dynamic to it. But
in your head.
In my head. But, obviously you just have to let people be turned on by what turns them on. That's what I've learned, and that's what I talk about in therapy with good old Dr. Fred. But I feel like yeah, I'm doing really good with that. And you're still over at Barb Space.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about barf space, to me, when I imagine like the world, okay, sometimes I imagine the world as this bleak, just uninhabitable, apocalyptic winter of cold, and the whole world sort of in outer space and uninhabitable, and then there's one place on the entire planet where you feel safe, and in my head that is your house, to me, because I don't live there anymore. I haven't lived there for 2 years, but just having done it, I don't know. I just love that house and everyone who lives there. But they're hiking up the rent.
Yep, they sure are, or they have been.
And what's that about? Just because the gentrification in Highland Park?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's brutal. It's crazy what's going on. But I'm totally an accessory to it. I'm a hip, gay, white guy. People want to stand next to my fire. I know that. I'm creative.
Make people feel safe.
See people walking down the street. See me walking down the street, and you want to live near that, you yuppie scum. Or whatever. What do you even call those people? Those people who like want to be around creative environments, but then like have their like 9-to-5 job where they make a ton of money.
That's a yuppie.
It's a yuppie?
Yeah.
I mean, I lived in Silver Lake for a little while, and that was sort of like I was a little excited to live there because I was like, this place is done being gentrified. It's all over, and I don't have to feel guilty. I don't have to feel guilty at all. But then I realized, like, Silver Lake is this space that has all the sort of accessories of a creative community, and then none of the actual fire that you would have in a creative community. You know, like a exciting art scene or anything. Like, it just wasn't doing it for me, and I couldn't afford it. I was living check to check, so I
bounced.
I moved to Chinatown, and now I'm just doing it all over again. And when I moved to Chinatown, I thought, oh, you know, it's called Chinatown. There's no way it could ever you know, become gentrified. It's in the name. Who's supposed to live here? But as soon as I move in, they're opening up the Scoops. And you know what?
Scoops has been here for a few years.
Has it?
Yeah, I think so. Before you moved in.
I don't know. It seems like a lot's going on right now. And what's amazing is that first wave of like people who gentrify, eventually they can't afford it anymore and they get pushed out. That's what happened. That happens too. So it's this never-ending cycle. I really wonder if creative communities can exist in spaces that are not transitional. Do you know what I mean? It seems almost impossible to do.
In LA.
Not in LA, right? I mean, I don't know anything else. I've never lived in another city. I've never lived in San Diego. What was that like? What's San Diego compared to LA to you?
San Diego is San Diego's ultra conservative. The number one employer is the Navy. It kind of does things that LA's done before, just like a few years later. The county's really big. I still haven't seen over half of San Diego County just because you don't want to go to certain areas.
Why not?
Really racist, really white.
Okay.
I grew up there, so I have a bunch of bad memories. But
racism?
More little racism, but mostly just queer bashing.
Oh yeah.
And xenophobia, maybe.
Because they thought you were gay.
Mm-hmm.
That's always an interesting accessory to anyone who's creative. They just immediately assume that you're gay, right? What do you think were the indicators to these people that you were gay?
The black nail polish and eyeliner didn't help.
Yeah, but it also, when you really think about gay people, it doesn't. That's not even a stereotype.
Yeah, that's not a stereotype.
But people just
anything that's not ultra masculine, and
yeah, they just totally just.
I guess they do the same thing with punks. They'll call them like faggots and stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's fucking horrible. It's just, but I almost wonder if that's changing, you know, like if when I came out, I sort of felt like, in a way that, in that moment I realized that society was like really stupid. Like everything that you're sort of raised to believe is like a big joke, you know? Not everything, but like the way things work, like doesn't even really make sense. But now that being gay is like sort of this slightly more tolerated thing, I don't even know if the gay kids, which is great, I don't know if the homosexual children, they get to have that same sort of moment of epiphany, I wonder, you know? But, you know, you gotta, you're making those trades. So, xenophobia, what's that about in San Diego?
Just anything that's different from the norm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I always forget about bro culture until, like, I go back to San Diego, and then, like, just as you, like, cross, like, Camp Pendleton, you see, like, all these humongous pickup trucks with, like, Metal Militia stickers.
What's Metal Militia?
They're, like, a clothing company, but their logo is the Iron Cross.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm gonna be wearing one of those tomorrow for Little Internet, I wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah, or, like, when we were going to that bachelor party, what was that town we were in?
That was...
By the beach? It was this bro city?
That was either, like, Mission Beach or
Pacific Beach. My gosh. And what?
That's not even, like, the worst one.
No. But you were describing it as, like, walking into, like, a nice-looking apartment that's just, like, covered in bottles of alcohol and, like, weed everywhere.
Yeah.
Because it's, like...
Because that's what we did walk into.
We did. And it's just, like, the creepiest feeling of, like, just all, like, this, like, just drugs without any, you know, sort of creative edge to them or something.
And, like, the people in the room are, like, people you'd never interact with if you... at all.
Yeah, okay. That's true, too. Yeah, right. Oh, but we did have fun on that bachelor party, though.
You know what?
I had a blast.
I had so much more fun than I, like, would have thought we would have. From,
yeah.
Like, the circumstances.
The circumstances? What were the define those circumstances of not fun to you? What are those circumstances?
Just John's best friend is kind of a bro.
But this also, it was like, I felt like we both had these sort of aha moments with that, because I found him to be such a sweet guy, and I think he felt the same way about me. It was his other friend that he knew not to bring that we were maybe more worried about. But he was such a sweetheart, and I think that really added to it for me, the fun of that sort of moment of cultural exchange. I just had an absolute blast. But the thing is, I was so proud of myself because I thought I had wait, did I go to the little house in the Northwest? I thought I'd done so well, you know. I'd made it through the whole weekend. You know, the drinking, the gay bars, the strippers, the other consumables. Totally behaved myself, not acting out of turn at all. And then we get out of crossing the border. I didn't have a passport. I was crossing the border without a passport. I mean, listen to me. Of course, that wasn't really going to be a problem. But and then we get back to like San Diego, wherever the hell that beach place with the bros, and someone's like, "Do you want just like a little bit of weed butter, a little weed candy right now?" And it was literally just it was absolutely just a sliver. And I thought, this is going to be fine. And then we drove the whole way back, and it was still fine. And I thought I had, like, ridden through the weed butter. I thought I'd done the experience of the weed butter. And then we get to In-N-Out, and we're, like, walking into the In-N-Out, and then this old man starts talking to Renee about Hank Williams. And then I'm just... in another universe. And I didn't really know. I kind of knew, but I didn't really know. I had forgotten that you could, because that's the highest I've ever been on any drugs. And we get in the car to leave, and I swear, and Renee starts making jokes, and I swear to God, my entire life occurred in that car ride. Like the entire experience of existence was going on. Just, it was all sort of in there, you know. Like I could have. In that moment, I felt like I could have been in that car for my whole life, and I would have been fine with it, but it was like, that was it. It was insane. Oh my gosh. But we did have fun. We did. So, Marcos, do you have anything coming up that you want to plug? Any radio stuff? You do a show on K-Chung, I know.
Yeah, me and 3 other roommates do a show on K-Chung every 4th Thursday of the month. On from 10 to 11. It's called Thirsty Thursdays. So look out for that. I think we're playing the K-Chung stage at the LA Arts Book Fair.
Oh, that's great.
It'll be our second show. Who knows how that'll go.
Who all else is on the docket for that? Do you know anyone else who's performing at that?
No idea.
I have no idea either. I didn't even know we had it, but I guess I sort of assumed we did, but it's fine.
I just found out we didn't have a table. I thought we did.
Oh, we don't have a table.
K-Chung doesn't have a table this year.
That's interesting. But it's also not that big of a deal because like the things we would sell at that table, I mean, we have stuff to sell, but it's not like, I don't know, it's not like, maybe, I don't even know, honestly. Do you go to meetings? K-Chung
no.
meetings? See, I haven't been to a K-Chung meeting, so I don't even really know what's going on, and I shouldn't even attempt to claim that I know. But anyway, I'm sure there'll be some, if you probably want to get some old K-Chung tapes or new K-Chung tapes, I'm sure there'll be some offerings in the by the stage on Saturday. And there's also the Orna Book Fair right down the street, and everyone should go to that too. It's a book fair mostly of an anti-authoritarian nature, supporting people of color, and I'm sure it'll be really cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on Let's Game, Marcos. I think this was a really good episode.
Yeah.
I thought we got into some good stuff.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was nice.
All right. See you guys soon.